But if you graduate with a 3.0, that's really not a very good reason to lose hope. Because you see, you can do some things after college to offset less than perfect grades. It's true that, unfortunately, I hate to break it to you, if you have a 3.0 GPA and you are planning on being the nation's top plastic surgeon by the age of 27, it's probably not going to happen. But you might get there at the age of 32. And I'm not sure that's so bad. You see, being confused and not knowing so much what you want to do and where you're going to do it or when you're going to do it, that's fine. You know, I'm 36 and I really don't know what I want to do with myself yet. And it might be a little too late for me since I kind of already went through graduate school and all that. Maybe I should have thought about this 8 or 9 years ago. But, you know, people change careers and achieve their dreams a lot later than their early 20s. It is true that if you have a 4.0 GPA, you will probably get to things faster than someone who has a 3.0. But so what? Are you in any rush? I don't understand. Maybe somebody else is in rush for you. That is possible. Okay, now let's talk about all the other things. I said grades are not the most important. Okay, so I like to think about skills and experience and networking. So skills, you know, there are specific skills like you want to be a doctor, you probably should do this pre-med track and all that. You want to be a lawyer, there are probably certain courses that are better for you than others. Okay, that's everybody knows that. But there are also the other skills that are not such a bad idea to pick up along the way that you can develop yourself. There are a few people here who have taken classes with me, and you guys know that what tops my list is writing. And it tops my list because, not because I'm in the humanities, and in the humanities we do a lot of writing and that's what's important, but because wherever you go next, you will have to write something. A statement of purpose, a letter of application, some email to a potential professor or employee, a writing sample. I don't know, it doesn't matter. This applies across the board. It doesn't matter what field you're in. Now I want you to imagine this. You say, this is no big deal. I'm not a great writer. I'm only in the sciences, you know. My writing sucks, but no big deal, right? And now I'm applying. All I have to do is like 2 pages. No big deal. So you send in the statement that's 2 pages. And as often happens these days, you are competing against about 200 other people for one position. And unfortunately for you, your file is the last one on the pile of 200 applications. The guy who's reading all these and has to decide who is going to be interviewed and who not, is very tired. It's 7 p.m. and he finally gets to your paper or your file, and he really wants to go home and be with his family, right? How many seconds do you think you have to impress? How many?
5.
Does anyone think you have more than 30 seconds? No, right? Okay. So you really need to get really, really good at this, or you don't have a shot. Now, if you don't know how to do this well, get help. There are people who can teach you how to write. There are professors who would be more willing to help you than some others in giving you feedback. And if you're not taking courses where you have to write, then there are ways to learn how to do this. It's a long-term investment. You can't learn it overnight. So probably reading is the best way to do it. And I know you might say, who has time to read any books, right? Because we have to read all that stuff that our professors assign us, and we have labs, and we have all this. Yeah, who has time to read like just for fun, right? Nobody has time for that. I don't have time for that. You know, you can read whatever you want, you know, read cookbooks, read science fiction, read chick lit, whatever it is that you want to read. Chick lit is the book version of chick flicks, right? I just wanted to make sure I got it right. So, yeah, all that is great. And with time, you'll see, you'll get better at this. So that's one. I can talk forever, as you probably figured out by now, but I'll just say, you know, with respect to skills, foreign languages, pretty good skill to have. And I'm not talking about the 1 year, 2 classes that you have to take here to graduate. That doesn't mean you know the language. I'm talking about really figuring out a way to master another language. This is a great skill, especially in America where most people don't speak anything but English. Computer skills would be the last one I'll say, and I'm not talking about using Microsoft Word or using PowerPoint or Facebook that we all obviously know how to use, that's why we're here. No, that's not what I'm talking about. Try to think a little beyond that. Ask yourselves, and some of you probably know how to do this, can you build your own website? Can you build a website that integrates fully with Facebook and Twitter that we all really love and use all the time? Do you know how to use Photoshop? Can you edit videos? These are skills that are very, very easy to pick up, and you won't believe how far they can take you, at least when it comes to first impressions. Then, of course, if you want to work at a zoo or something, it may not be so useful, but at least it makes a good first impression. So far for skills, you get the point. Now experience. You accumulated all those skills, that's great, but you need to demonstrate somehow that you can actually use them. So get an internship, join a professor for some research project, volunteer, get a job after college, something where you can demonstrate that you've actually used those skills. That's experience. And the last point is networking. I don't have to tell you too much about the importance of networking with like key people in whatever profession you want to pursue, and in general with influential and rich people. It's a good idea to know that, right? Who knows, one day they'll want to invest $20 million in you. I'm still trying to network with some of those people, and we'll see, maybe one day I'll be rich. But I'm not talking about, well, I mean, that's obvious. By the way, networking with your own friends, you can just call it friendship. You don't have to think about it in, in terms of like using your friends for something. But some of you 10 years from now might be in a position to help others. So it's not a bad idea to stay in touch. But I'm also talking about your teachers, your professors. Now I know this is like a recurring theme in what I've been saying. So I'll just say this very briefly. It's a good idea in general to have a few professors who know more about you than just, you got an A in my class. Because eventually, at some point, you will need those letters of recommendation. So if only for that reason, even if you really don't like hanging out with your professors, it's not a bad idea to invest a little bit of time in doing that. And out of these 3 or 4 people, it's probably not a bad idea to have at least one who knows you really well. You would not believe how just one really good and personal relationship with one of your teachers, I'm sure you can find one like that, how much that can actually transform your entire college experience and your post-college experience too. Now, I know the questions are, well, how do I get this done? I don't just walk into my professor's office and say, hey, dude, what's up? My girlfriend broke up with me last night. I feel terrible. What am I going to do? Probably not the best approach. But, you go in, you talk. Unfortunately, it has to be your initiative. That's just how it works. You're going to have to talk, and you start with, boring stuff, this paper I have to write, this lab, I don't know what I'm doing, whatever. And then, you just throw out a comment or two about, last night I couldn't sleep because I had these problems at home, and you see how the person reacts. Now, some professors, I'll tell you, some professors, as you can tell, I'm not one of them, are not into that. So they'll kind of try to divert the conversation back to the professional side. Respect that. Not everyone wants to have personal connections with their students. There's a whole, if you go and you read the Chronicle of Higher Education, you'll see there's a whole years-long debate about this issue. How deep of a relationship should we teachers have with our students? So respect that. If that person doesn't want it, you'll get the clue very quickly. Move on. Look for somebody else. But there are a lot of people, enough for all of you in this room, who would be interested in that kind of a relationship. And relationships take time to build. So I don't think anyone is going to know everything about you overnight. It's going to take time. But I think that is probably, that is the tip with which I started in the first secret. And I still believe it's the best one that I posted, so maybe all the 50 others were just a waste of time, I don't know. I could have just stopped after number 1. But I think, there are a lot of people here, and also after college, who would love to help you, who would love to be here for you. I mean, think about that. I'm sure you wouldn't want your friends to think about you just in terms of a number, right? A GPA. Oh, you got a 4.0, you're awesome. You only have a 3.0? Dude, you suck. I don't want to be friends with you. Yeah, you don't want that, right? You're more than just a number. So let your teachers know that you're more than just a number. If you don't talk to us, if I don't know who you are, you're just a number for me. If that number is good, I might have a better impression about you than if your number is not so great. But that really isn't how a good relationship should be. So I guess that is sort of my meant-to-be short introduction. And I mean, I'd love to have a discussion or answer questions, whatever you want. So, thank you all for being here.